All right, so welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for waiting, and thank you so much for joining us today. So we're going to start now. All right, so before now, for those who just joined us, I am Jason Gbemisayo Omoni, Customer Success Associate at Datalium, and welcome to Datalium Data Analytics Masterclass, Microsoft Excel. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so who we are and what we do at Datalium. I said we are a technology education company. We equip, we educate, and we also empower individuals and corporates with premium digital skills needed for the future of work. Okay, so who we are at Datalium, we are a global talent accelerator, data analysts, and data scientists across the world. So we're not just looking at Nigeria, we're looking at Africa and even beyond Africa. So we have a global network of data scientists and data analysts. And how do we do all of this? We do this by adhering to the highest service of excellence. Everything we do at Datalium is centered around excellence. And one major mantra that we always keep up to at Datalium is impact. Impact has always been our mantra at Datalium. We do all our very possible best, to impact the lives of those who pass through our trainings. All right. So these are the key aspects of our arms at Datalium. We have the Datalium Academy, Datalium Intelligence, Datalium Technologies, Datalium Alumni Women Network. And all of these key arms are geared towards youth empowerment, job employment, custom-built solutions, women empowerment, global recognition, and so on, like we can see on the screen. All right, so this is a screenshot of our track record, all right? So we are known as the most preferred data institution in Africa. We're also known as one of the top 25 key players in Nigeria's technical talent industry. We also held the first Agile HR Summit in Africa, and we held the first virtual data hackathon in Nigeria. We have recognitions from Tech Cabal, TechGist Africa, Business Day, and we have trained over 13,550 students. And we also have a goal to train over 20,000 students at year end 2021. And we hope that at the end of this, everyone joined here would also be a number. It's going to be a part of this number. All right, so we'll train students in data analytics, Microsoft Excel, data analytics, macroeconomics analysis, and business analysis, strategic HR analysis for the human resource personnel. We have impacted, people with giving out over 119 scholarships, 108 job placements and internships for trainees. And these are the benefits you enjoy when you train with Datalium. We give job recommendations, we give job placement, we don't just leave you hanging, we always place you well. We connect everyone to top partner companies, around the world. Yes. Okay, so we have students from 9 countries, 52 cities across the globe. And you can see a screenshot of our 10 top corporate clients. We have trained staff of Access Bank, Flutterwave, eTop, Jobberman, First Bank, and so on. So yes, we have top-notch facilitators at Datalium. We always give you the best, and we ensure that you receive value. Yes, that's what we do at Datalium. Okay. All right, so this is our school. Yes, we have the Data Analytics and Business Intelligence School, Business Analysis, Software Development, Robotics and Artificial Intelligence, Management and Leadership. So these are our schools at Datalium, and we do trainings, like I said earlier, in all of these schools. Okay, so our approach towards, approaching Datalium, how we carry out our activities. So we ensure seamless onboarding of trainings. We also adhere to the highest level of, excellence, like I said earlier, and we integrate an effective grading process. So at Datalium, we we do not build half-baked data scientists, right, and data analysts. We make sure that you're built well and you can compete with other data analysts across the globe. And we also connect talent with opportunities. So at Datalium, we connect everyone and we make sure that you're in a good state, a good position. We also offer mentorship and also a career path plan for you. And we do all our very possible best to make sure that you are in a good position. So this is a screenshot of some of our students who have trained in the past in various courses, both physical and virtual. You can see everyone smiling, everyone is happy, and would also love to see your beautiful faces on our photo gallery. All right, so do well to follow us on our social media platform, Facebook, Instagram. We give amazing prizes and we always keep you updated in what's going on around the data world. It's very important for you to follow us if you want to keep updated. And yes, and if you also need clarifications on questions, you can send us a mail through info@datalium.com, or you can also call the lines on the screen. Thank you so much for joining us once again. You are all welcome to our masterclass. And we're going to start the class proper shortly. I want you all to, fasten your belt and let's get to learn. So I can't wait to start this class. So I'm going to, introduce our facilitator for today. Is the person of Enobong. He has years of experience when it comes to data analytics, yes, and he's a professional, a top-notch expert in the industry. He has worked in the telecommunication and management industry. So, ladies and gentlemen, help you welcome Enobong. Enobong, over to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Amy. I appreciate the introduction. Please, can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes. I see you.
All right, thank you very much.
We can hear you, sir.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Enobong. I'm a data analyst. I've been using Excel for a while, so I believe I'll be able to see us through this masterclass with what I have prepared. And I'm certain that with this, it should whet your appetite and help you understand the wonderful things you can do with Excel and the essence of having proper training and utilizing this great tool. So I'll be sharing my screen now and we'll just start from there. Can you see my screen, please? I should have a slide of Datalium Excel Masterclass.
Yes, I can see it.
All right, thank you very much. So this is a masterclass, and thanks to Datalium for putting this together. What we're doing today, we'll be going through what Excel is about, its uses. We'll look at the interface and the layout of Excel, the working area. We'll look at the basic tools that are used in Excel, and beyond tools, we also have some functions that are used in Excel, and we'll also be looking at charts, which is maybe the most popular thing that may have brought you down to this point. We'll be looking at formulas as well, and we'll be looking at introduction to some of the advanced functions that we have on Excel. So I believe you've received the Excel sheet that was shared on the group, because we'll be using that as a practically while I explain on my screen between this slide and the Excel data that was shared with us. So please, if you have that, you should have it. Just open it and up. So when we get to that point, you would also be following as I explain and take us through this masterclass on Excel. So first, what is Excel? Excel is a spreadsheet program by Microsoft. It's basically part of this Office suite of applications for work, office work, you can call it that way. What is a spreadsheet? A spreadsheet basically is, how do I call it? A sheet that contains data you want to work with. So we have it, obviously before now you have spreadsheet on paper where you record scores and you have your student names and you have their scores beside them, but over time, computer came in, so we have a soft copy, which is called a spreadsheet. And Excel is a program that helps you, that is a spreadsheet program basically on which you maintain data, work on it, and utilize it as best as you can. Which also ties us to what we use Excel for. So you see that Excel features, excuse me. Okay. So you see Excel features calculations, graphic tools, pivot tables. There's a programming language called VBA, Visual Basic Applications. Of course, you may not be familiar with this, but through this class, we'll get to be introduced to each of these to an extent. Each of these tools, functions I've mentioned below, they are used to analyze data, to create reports and dashboards. So this is basically the summary of the use of Excel as regards data analytics. So this is what we have. Microsoft Excel is by Microsoft. When I say it's part of the Office suite of applications, there are others. There is PowerPoint. For example, I'm making use of PowerPoint for this presentation. You understand? So PowerPoint is basically for presentations. Excel is basically for data analysis, and that is what our focus is on today. And the use of Excel I've mentioned to you. So at this point, we'll go ahead to look at the Excel data and how it works. Yes, so we'll be looking at the interface and the layout of Excel. So we should cover what is listed here on screen, the workbook, what it is, and what a ribbon is, and tabs, and every other thing listed here. So at this point, I'll be switching to the Excel sheet we have, and let's also go over there, please. Please, if you have any question, do leave it in a chat, like just put a chat through, like if you have a comment or a question per se, so we don't have clashing voices and we can run through in the time we have. So this is Excel. This is your Excel window. This is what it looks like. And I don't know, there are different versions of Excel. We have 2007, 2016. This is Excel Office, Microsoft 365. So depending on the version you have, your window may look slightly different, just slightly in terms of aesthetics, and some minor functions may not be present, but in all, you should be able to see everything that we are trying to cover in this particular class. So this is the Excel window, the interface. This is how it looks. I made mention of the layout. So this is the layout of Excel, right? You can see that at the top, you can follow my cursor, right? We have a section where you can see a lot of icons and write-ups to it. Now, this section, you can see my cursor going across it, is what we refer to as a ribbon. So it's basically picked from, you know what a ribbon is from days of the, this is a strip, you know, across the Excel interface, basically the Excel window. And basically what a ribbon does is that it contains shortcuts, basically, and links to certain functions, certain tools that are useful in Excel. So this is a ribbon that you can see: home, insert, page layout, and the likes. So what happens is that a ribbon is broken into tabs. Currently, we're on the home tab. So the home tab has some functions that are, you know, those that make use of once you open your Excel, once you start working. So we have the home tab that has a set of functions, and these functions or tools are grouped together, you know, based on their. Okay, please let me know at any point in time if you cannot hear me or if I'm breaking. So these functions are grouped based on their function, you know, what they are used for, their similarities. So over here first, you can see a clipboard. This is a group of functions that has to do with copying and pasting. So you can see paste over here. If you, okay, there might be a lag. So we have it and copy and you can paste, and we'll get to third functions for fonts. Here you can choose the font type you want. for your text. This might delay a bit. It's also you can see there's a drop down that has given me different fonts per se. You can increase the size of your font, size 11, size 200. This tells you how big or small it should go. And without going to the exact number, you can toggle between like increasing it per step. So if I use this for an example, binder, if I click on this, you can see binder goes bigger. The more I click on it, binder increases, right? So the next icon reduces binder, the font size of binder. Here we have, a fill color. So if I click on that, I can change the color, for where I am focused on, or I can take it back to where it was. And then we have the font color. This changes the color of the text itself that is in the cell. So basically, this ribbon and tabs gives us these functions just at the mouse click, right? So over here we have alignment tools where you can align your text or data as need be, as it fits for your use, basically. So this is it. We also have other tabs. We have the insert tab, and basically it does what the name says, insert. It inserts different graphics or input you need on your Excel sheet. So you can insert a pivot table, you can insert a chart, and then you can insert spark lines, filters, links, comments. So I'm going to take us through these functions just to briefly describe them, and I'll be expressing these on this particular sales order sheet that we have. So back to our home tab, and this might actually going through these ribbons. Okay, what I'll do is I'll just introduce us to the ribbons, and then I'll take us through the functions. And in these functions, we'll be making reference to these ribbons, you understand? Because that's basically why they are here. So when I'm taking you through some functions and some tools, we'll get to the different icons you're seeing on screen and how they are being made use of. So insert basically is a tab on the ribbon for which you use to pick different inputs, be it graph, be it a chart, a spark line. You can insert it into your worksheet, okay? And then we have our page layout. Our page layout, basically, it talks about how you want your page, right? How you want to view it. You have your themes and colors where you can modify what colors you want on this. So let's say if I pick this, we have different scales. It gives you groups of colors you can make use of. So over here, you can make your modifications on the colors you want on your page. And then we have the page setup where you can set your margins. You can put your orientation if you want it to be in form of a portrait format, like this looks portrait. You can actually make it in a landscape format. This is obviously how you want it to be on your printed sheets or on, visually on screen. You can also modify the size of your Excel sheet. You can see you can format it according to the letter size, executive, A3, A4. So these are customizations you can do to your Excel window. You can also fix the print area. You can set page breaks. If you're having different pages, you can do the page break on it. Background check. We also have scaling. So these are what you do on page layout. There's various things you can do here. And frankly speaking, on your data analysis path, you may have little to do with this particular ribbon, because this has to do with printing, display and the like. So your focus will be on other aspects of this Excel. So we also move on to the next. Excuse me. Okay, so move on to the next tab where we have formulas. I made mention that we will be looking at formulas during this class, and there are lots of formulas actually available to Excel, and these are grouped on this tab. You can see we have financial formulas, logical formulas, text-related formulas, date and time-related formulas, lookup functions and referencing. We have math and trig and some other functions. So there, when we're looking at functions and formulas. There is a whole lot that are available on Excel, some of which you may not even believe there are, but we will be covering key functions, key formulas from what is available that you would most likely encounter on your data analysis journey. So we have some defined names. You can audit your formula. Say you've worked on your formula and you want to check, do I have an error? Is there a loophole in this formula? This is available to you. And then you have some calculation options. So this is what you have available in your formulas tab of the ribbon. Then we move to the next, which is data. This basically helps us with some shortcuts to functions that you can use to work on your data, right? So this will be very, very essential to you as well. First, you can see where you get and transform data. So from this particular part of the ribbon, this is where you can get your data source. So you can get a text file or a CSV file and work on it on Excel. You can fetch from a web and work on it on Excel. You can get your table or range from a different source, from another Excel, and you can work on it here. So this is basically what Get Data does. You can pick right from your Excel window, you can pick your data source, what you want to work on. Then we have data types, basically how your data is going to look. And then this is another key function that we'll be covering, sort and filter. You can sort your data if you want it alphabetically from A to Z, or you want it from Z to A. You can sort it increasing or decreasing order. So this part of this data ribbon helps you achieve that. So we also have what's called filter. We'll get to it later on, as part of the class, but these are available as things you can simply click and you get those functions available. We have data tools, we have text to column. This as well, I'm going to explain what they are used for in our data analysis approach. Then we have some other functions like a what if analysis. This is part of our advanced function, which I would also throw some light on when we are working on that. So this is what we have for our data tab on this ribbon. Then we have the review ribbon. Basically, it does what it says to review. You're done with your work. You're done with your write-up, your dashboard, your data set. You can use this to do some checks. For example, you can check if you have some misspellings. So Excel can help you automatically correct, whatever is on your sheet that is wrong. Of course, you have a thesaurus where it can suggest synonyms, antonyms, and stuff for words you have on your Excel book. And the beauty of this is that whenever you hover over any icon, even if you're not familiar with it, you can see that Excel already gives you a hint as to what it can do. So by hovering your mouse, your cursor over a particular icon or area of Excel, it tells you, okay, this is what you can do with this icon. So Excel is a very over time, it's been iterated such that it's quite smart and can guide you and help you along the way of using it. So basically, this ribbon helps us to do some checks on what we have done. So this is usually like when you're done working. And then we have our view. This is kind of similar to the layout, but in this case, it's more of a visual display, how you want to see. You can zoom, in and out. In case this is too small, right? You can zoom either smaller or larger, so everything appears as you want. And then we have something called freezing panes, for which I am going to get back to. So all of these are available on our tabs on the ribbon. Then finally, you have the help tab. Of course, this helps you get some external support. You can go online, contact Microsoft, and if you have questions, if you want to speak, you have a community. This would obviously take you through a link to a community where you can share your questions or comments and you can get feedback. And obviously somebody may already have asked the same question you have to ask and you automatically get the answer you need. So this is looking at the layout of Excel. We've just covered the ribbons where we have different tabs, the home tab, insert tab, and how they have the kind of functions they have available on there. So this is it for the Excel layout and the ribbons. So moving beyond the ribbon, we have the this is our worksheet. Here where my mouse is right now, my cursor is, where you can see some lines as in boxes. So this is our worksheet, and I'll be explaining what this worksheet is. Basically, a worksheet on Excel is where you have your data and where you basically do all your work. Basically, the ribbon, the tabs, they have the functions that you implement on your worksheet. And if you look on the worksheet, you can see that we have, this is a vertical, right? So you can see we have alphabetical columns. So you can see A, B, C, D. These are, we call them columns, right? So, and they are known by their letters. So we have column K, column O, we have column B, column E, column F. So this is how you refer to this part of your Microsoft Excel worksheet. So we have columns that are titled by by alphabetical letters. Then beyond columns, if you look this way, we have rows, right? So the rows are known by their numbers. So from 1 till whatever extent it can get to. So you have row 1, row 3, row 5, row 9. So these rows and columns, this is basically what defines your Excel work area. It's very essential. It's basically how it references and stores data. So now you can see that we have rows, right? And then we have columns. Now if I click on this, now you can see we have a box. This box, basically, we refer to it as a cell. A cell is an intersection of a column and a row, right? So this cell, we can see that it is on row 2 and on column I. So basically, and if you look to the left corner here, this is your name box, okay? And this name box basically has the name of that cell. And this is, you can think of it as an address. The same way you have your house address, home address, office address. It tells you the exact location of where a person is or where an office is located. So we have the name box. So we have the address of the cell. So a cell these are basically addresses that Excel works with when it's trying to get, okay, what data is in this address? What information is in this address? What address should I work with? So that is where you have it. And these cells are addressed based on their column and the row. So you can see this is called I2. So on any single cell you click on, you would have the name of that cell, which is basically the address, like I said, at the top left corner of your screen. Of course, without looking there, you can always. Okay, please let me know if you're still hearing me by chat, because my internet is a bit shaky. So whenever you click on a cell, you would always see that you see the column it's on, it's highlighted, and the row as well is highlighted. So currently we're on J5. So if you click elsewhere, this is C3. If you click elsewhere, this is B13. So this is basically a cell. Think of it as the. Okay, there's a message.
Okay, all right, everyone. Let's just hold on. Enobong's network is not stable, so it's trying to join in. So we'll start shortly. All right, thank you so much, everyone, for hanging on. Enobong is sharing screen at the moment.
Okay, sorry about the breaking transmission. My network had a little issue. Please, could you let me know when you stopped hearing me? Because earlier on. So I was earlier on talking about cells and basically their how they are known basically. So from the column and the cell, column and row titles, that's how you get to know your cells. So this is basically our worksheet, and on a Microsoft Excel workbook, you can have multiple worksheets. So in this case, this is one worksheet. It's called sales orders. We have another channel. Okay. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you, Enobong.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, thank you. So I just turned off my video so you can see the bandwidth. Okay. So we have different worksheets on an Excel workbook. You can have as many worksheets as you need on your Excel workbook. So in this case, we have sales orders worksheets. We have the channel worksheet, exchange rates. These are different worksheets that you get to make use of. So this so far is the introduction to our interface and layout. So this has covered all of that. And from here, I'll be moving on to, okay, fine, the worksheet as well, I have covered that, but I may not have mentioned formula bar. On our Excel workbook, we have what is called the formula bar, which is this long space you see here. So what this formula bar does, it shows you the content of a cell. Yes, you can see the content of a cell as visually like this, but there are some cases where on a particular cell, there is a formula that is there and it gives a value. So let's take an example. If I say this plus this. So now we have a formula here, right? On my Excel, looking at the worksheet, you can see 46.99, right? But that is not the exact, the actual content of the cell. When you click on that particular cell, though you can see on the cell 46.99, the formula bar shows you the actual content of that cell, which says that, okay, it's a formula that is there. That means that particular 46.99 can change. 46.99 isn't what was entered. That value can change based on where it is referenced. So that's the essence of the formula bar. The formula bar shows you the exact content of your particular cell. So that covers looking at cells. We know that our rows rather are numbered numerically, and then our columns are alphabetically. And our cell is an intersection of a row and a column, and it's known by that. So we have I6, J3, and the likes. So this is the essence of the formula bar. The formula bar shows you the exact content of your cell. So point, we'll be looking at how we make use of the tools I made mention of in our ribbons. So we'll look at data, how to delete data, formatting at the ribbons, but we'll go ahead and, you have. So imputing data into a cell. So once you click on a cell, you can type into it. So sample data. This is how you enter data into Excel. Basically, you can type into those cells that you are working on. Okay, Esther, I can see your question about how I got the formula. I'll get to that point. I was just trying to give an example for the formula bar, you understand? So we'll get to formulas and I'm going to explain that as well. So data entry basically is as it is. Let's say you have your written data on a sheet of paper, right? And what you do basically is to type into those cells. So you have sample data. I can write 1, 2, 3, ERT. This is data entry. So you basically type into your cell as you need. Beyond typing into a cell, you can also do copy and paste, right? So let's say you already have your data somewhere, like in this sales order, right? But I need, let's say I need the rep information. On this table, you can see that we have an order date, the region the person belongs to, the representative, the item the person ordered, the number of units that were ordered, the cost, and the total. So let's just say I need a part of this table, right? I just need the information for Jones and Pence, this Jones row. I don't need to type all of this again over here. I can simply copy and paste. So what happens in Excel is that you can highlight the cell you want. Obviously, when you click on a cell, it has it shows that it's highlighted with a green box or whatever color around it. But you can select more than one cell at once, right? So if you just click, hold your left click and move across the cells you want to select at that point in time. You can select across a row, across a column, as much as you want. So you can basically select that way. So if I need this data, I need this data on a different sheet. I don't need to go ahead and let's say I look at it and I'm typing 169. It doesn't work like that, right? That is duplication of work. So on Excel, you can copy and paste. You can simply highlight the data you want. And if you right click, you'd see copy, right? You select copy. And then you can see that the cell that has, the area you've copied, you see like a dotted or dashed line across it, showing that, oh, you have performed a particular function on this cell. Then you go to your destination cell where you want that information. You can also right click and then you paste, okay? So this way I have replicated the data I have here over here, right? And apart from right clicking to copy, there are also shortcuts for it. So if I highlight this, instead of right clicking, I can do Control C. Control C is copy, is a shortcut for copy. I'm certain if we right click, okay, it's not shown there. Okay, the shortcut is not showing. But on Excel, what happens is that apart from having them available on ribbons and on your right clicks, you can actually use shortcuts. So in this case, you can do a Control C and then go to your destination and Control V. There you have pasted your data, right? So this is copy and paste. You can actually cut your data and paste it wherever you want. So in this case, cutting does what it does. It takes it out of that position where it is. So if I do a cut, for cuts on Excel, you make use of Control X. So if you do a Control X, it shows you the same highlight as it did when you did a Control C, that's copy. And then you go to your destination. And then once you do your paste, which is Control V or right click and paste, you see that that information is no longer where it was. It's now somewhere else, right? So this is your basic copy and paste. And when you have done this, you can actually undo whatever you did. For in this case, I do not. This is simply an example, and I do not intend cutting this information from that particular row. So I can do it. I can undo what I just did, right? So if you look up at your top, the top of your Excel window, you see this backward arrow and the forward arrow. the backward arrow helps you do the undo. So if I do an undo, you can say that my last action, which was cutting and pasting my information over here, has been reverted. So I have my information back where it was. And if I keep clicking on this undo, I would undo the subsequent actions I did before that. So if I do that, you see the second paste is gone, and then the first paste is gone as well. So these are, you doing copy and paste on Excel. You can actually copy a whole table to a new sheet, and you can do that by doing Control A. Control A is your shortcut for, okay, thank you. So I'm using a PC, Microsoft, Windows 10. For Apple Mac users, Control, you should have Command on yours. So you can make use of Command and, whichever Control, Command C, Command V. I'm more familiar with Windows, so I'll be making use of Windows 10's Control. But obviously, you do the replica on your Mac, which is Command or the likes. Thank you very much, Karen. The first replication. It's just copy and paste basically. So it's basically copy. You select the cell you want to copy. You do a Control C, or you right click, and you can see copy over there. And you go to your destination window, and you paste. So there was a question for what I did before. It wasn't different. It was just different ways to achieve that. So if I make reference to the ribbon as well, if you select the cell you want to copy or the row of cells you want to copy, you can go to the ribbon on the home tab, right? Where you can see you see that's the copy icon. So if I click on that, it copies it. If I go to the destination I want and I go over here, I click on paste, it pastes it. But going to the ribbon per time is, there's a faster way of doing it. That's by going with the shortcuts, where you just select the information you need, Control C or Command C, go to your destination cell, Control V or Command C, or Command V rather. So there you have it. So the shortcuts basically do what they do, save you time. They are basically faster. So that is it for copy and pasting. You can also delete information. And that is as it is. You work with your keyboard. So if I don't want East information, you select the cell you want to delete, and then you can simply tap delete on your keypad, and that information is gone. Or I believe if you right click, you can see delete as well. So you can delete a column or a row. So what I did was to delete a cell, right? So you can actually delete a column or a row. So what I'll do is I'm going to, okay, we can still work with this. So if I don't want a particular row, let's say I do not want to show the region that my reps are from, I'm considering let's look national and let's not look at the regional level. You can right click on a column and then you delete that information. So now your table is void of that particular information. That's basically you deleting. So I will just undo what I did, and that is it for deleting. You can delete a row as well. You select the row you want, and then you click on delete, or you right click and you delete. So that particular row is gone. I can undo it with my Control Z, and it's backup displayed. So I also made mention of formatting. What is formatting? How do you want your cell, your information to be displayed? So look at Binder, for example. What I'll do is I'm going to zoom in, right? So you can see, you can see it better. So you recall earlier on while I was explaining the ribbons, I used it as an example. So how you want your text, your data to be displayed is what is called formatting, right? So you can, that's what you have here on, let's look at the font and the alignment. So in this case, let's use Binder, for example, or I'll use this first three data, right? East, Jones, and Pencil. I can change the font to something else, Callisto, right? I can make it bold. You can increase the font by tapping on this icon. You can reduce the font. So this is formatting, okay? And you can underline your data. You can choose the color you want for your text by saying, oh, I want this text to be in blue. You can change the color of the background of your cell by saying that, oh, I want it to be yellow. So this is formatting. This is what we are doing basically. So you format your data as you want, as you need it to be, right? So that's what formatting does for you. We have explored that. And then you can actually, there's another thing called borders, right? You can show borders on your table or not. Right now, the boxes, the lines you are seeing are the default lines on Excel, okay? So, but you can show, you can put some visibility on those lines by doing the border. So in this case, if you look at it, if I take out the yellow, you see that these 3 cells have their borders clearly as black as compared to the others. They don't have that black line. What they have is the gray line, okay? And this is basically formatting, right? How you want it to be displayed. That is formatting. So let's say there's something else called format painting, right? And format painting is this. You can see that I highlighted these cells and I selected the format I wanted on them. So let's say after doing this, I actually want to apply this format to every other data I have on my set, right? I don't need to select them again and start going through the same process of selecting which font. Please, at any point in time you stop hearing me, just put a chat or something because it's raining here and it might affect my network a bit. So I don't need to select the new set of data and now start applying the same functions, the same formatting I did before. I'll go and select Calibri. I'll go and try to adjust the font. So Excel has a function that says format painting and it's right here in the clipboard. So what happens is that you can select the cell, you have the format you want to apply to others, right? When you select that cell, you simply click on format painter. What it does is that it copies the format from that particular cell, and then you go to the cells you want, you apply it on whatever set of cells you want to, you select whatever set of cells you want to apply that same formatting to. Once you leave your, click, it basically duplicates the formatting that you had on those ones. So you can see here, everything is formatted to that same format as we had there, right? So I'm going to undo this. That's basically formatting and format painting. I'm taking this back to how it was so we can work further with it. And then we have, excuse me. Okay, so we also have alignment. If I increase this, basically you can align your cell how you want it to be. I'll take this column, for example. Currently, they are all left aligned. I can make them center aligned. I can make them right aligned. Also, if I increase this, you can see that currently it is center in terms of horizontally. I can make it be at the bottom of my cell or at the top of my cell. So these are examples of formatting you can do on Excel. Then cell resizing is what I just did. I basically just expanded, you can resize your columns or your rows as much as you need. Let's say, for example, I have a long write-up here. I wrote it is different from every other cell, for example, right? So if I'm leaving it in the same size as it was, you will really not see what's written here. So sometimes, but over here in the formula bar, you can see. So sometimes you might want to just display everything that is there. So you would have to resize your cell by, dragging the column across or the row across. Okay, so there's a question for the format painting again, and I'll just take that one more time. What I was saying was, let's say you apply, okay, there's a lag right now. Just hold on. Okay, so I'll take the formatting one more time, format painting one more time. So let's say I selected Gil and I made Gil bold and I made Gil to have a red background, right? And I want to apply this same formatting to the rest of my cells, okay? So what I can do is instead of selecting my cells and going through the same process, you select that particular cell you formatted. Over here at your ribbon in the home page, you see a brush. That brush basically says format painter. So if you click on that brush, it picks the formatting from that cell. Then you go to the other cells you want to apply it to. Once you click on it, it basically replicates that formatting on those cells. So that is it. And I hope that shows you exactly what I was trying to explain before. So that's for format painting, right? If I go back, we have the cell resize, which I have explained. So we have moving columns and autofill. So I can actually move my columns, rearrange them. So this column, for example, if I want, excuse me. So I can rearrange these columns. If I want my items, I'll just take this as pencil. If I want my items to be, in a different place, maybe I want them to appear first, I can simply right-click on the column I'm working with, do a cut, right? Go to wherever position I want it to be, and then I paste it. Okay, I have a little. That's weird. That shouldn't be the case. Okay, so I'll use it elsewhere. If I cut this column now, you can select the column from the letter, at the top, F, and go to somewhere else, and then you. Okay, so Excel does that, but let me try with something else. I hope it works this time. Cuts. Good. Okay, so in this case, you can see that I moved this other date from where it was to somewhere else. So these are a few of the formatting and basic tools you can make use of. You can also do an autofill, right? So what is autofill? Let's take this particular data set, for example. We have this data tells me is a record of orders that people have made. So this tells me Jones, let me do this. So I want to revert what all this formatting I've done so that it will look exactly as it was before. So I'm going to simply do a format painting. I have copied this row that I never made any change to, and then I am applying it to everything here. So that has gone back to how it was before. So let's look at this sales data, right? We can see that this is an order from pencil. Jones ordered pencils, 95 of them at 1.99, and we can see the total. The relationship between this total and these two guys, you can tell is that the total is basically 95, the number of units multiplied by the unit cost, right? So let's say I want to do I can autofill some, I'm trying to show you autofill, right? So let's say I want to look at, let me do this, okay? I'll delete the information we have here, right? To get the total, I can simply multiply the number of units by the unit cost. That's going to give me the total. And I'm certain you can, no need to delete, I'll just create it here. So I'm trying to replicate this total basically. And I assume that total is a multiplication of 95 and the unit cost. So I'll do a simple formula here to say I am multiplying units by total, okay? So I would still go back to explain the formula, but I'm trying to show you autofill. You can see very well that I imputed that formula only in this single cell, but Excel automatically filled it up to the remaining cells below because it has seen that it's similar information you have here, and you most likely will want to replicate the information across. So this is one way it automatically fills. So I don't need to apply this formula elsewhere. It is already auto-applied elsewhere, right? This is basically autofill. I'm still going to make a reference to this, or let me just get to that point. Now, I want to highlight this for us, range versus table, okay? As it relates to this. This may be a little bit, I don't know if it may be too far to grasp, but what we have here is a table. Excel recognizes this, this data set as a table. If I scroll down, okay, I have a text. Okay, I'm taking the autofill now, right? So I want to differentiate between a table and a range, right? It's part of what is highlighted here as I'll discuss with you, a range versus a table, okay? So let me see this. Okay, great. Now, what we have here on the channel sheet is a range of data. Whereas what we have on the sales orders sheet is a table. A range is basically your data, like you've inputted your data, they are put together, they look like a table format, then adjacent cells, right? However, Excel has a way of recognizing a table as, okay, this is a table. So it does some automatic formatting and fill-ups for a range, sorry, for a table. In this case that we have a table, if I scroll down, you know, normally here we have A, B, C, D, E, F, right? If I scroll down, you can see that the columns have automatically changed to the titles of those columns. So instead of A, you are seeing order date, region, and the likes. Now, this is because Excel recognizes this data set as a table and not just a range. Meanwhile, it's different. If I scroll down on this particular set of data we have here, it will not change the same way. You still see A, B, C. So Excel sees this as a how do I call it? As a range, right? So you can actually convert between a data, a range, and a table. So if I click on this, maybe, okay, your own things change when you scroll down. Maybe could it be your version of Excel? What your version? Are you using a 2016, 2007, or Office 365? So just help me answer that. That's why I said there might be some slight differences, because this table feature may have been an advanced stuff that have come over time. So in the more recent ones, we may have it. So I'm trying to explain the autofill, right? So this autofill, basically, how it works on a table is slightly different from how it works on a range. On a range, you use 2016 and it didn't do 2. Okay. How about I'll take this further, because if I try to explain the difference between table and range, it might take a longer time, you understand? But since not all of us have that feature, okay, so I'll just give the basic difference. From just work with my screen, right? So for a table, Excel recognizes it as a set of data interrelated, such that when I put a formula here, let me do a similar stuff. I will take this and copy and paste here. Oh, Excel is doing wonders. Okay, I'll use an example, right? Let me put an example let me just create a range of data. I use item, price, quantity, okay? So I'm just using random numbers, whatever they are. I just want to fill up this data, right? For example, okay? So this is 20 Naira, this is 50 Naira, 40 Naira, 30 Naira, 60 Naira, right? And you bought 14, 18, 39, whatever. I'm just trying to give us a sample, okay? So this is a range of data, right? This is a range. It looks like a table. Excel doesn't recognize a table. Now, if I want to see the total price here, okay? If I want to see the total price here, and I apply the same formula, and I say this, you know, the price times the quantity, it doesn't autofill, right? But if you look at the table format, it already autofilled it. Now, if you more often than not, when you're working, your data would be in form of a range. So you may not always get this autofill format, right? So there's another difference. What happens is that if you want to do the autofill on a range, when you have your formula written in, when you click on that cell, at the bottom right of the cell, you will see a tick blue icon, right? So that is what you use to do your autofill. If you double click on it, it then autofills down to the last. So it just applies, takes your formulas down to every other part of the table, of your range rather. Meanwhile, on a table, it automatically fills that for you. And then there's another difference you should note between a range and a table. On a range, when you put a formula, it references the cells. So you can see it is telling me B2 and C2, right? That shows you that it's working with just the cells you've worked on with. And then by the time you click and you go down, you will see that it is now referencing each cell individually. Meanwhile, on the range, I'll get to that. So meanwhile, on the range, you can see that the formula, it is referencing the column name. You understand? It's taking the column as a whole. So it's looking at units and at cost. It's not looking at individual cells. So that's the difference. And then I can show you how to convert a table, a range to a table, right? So let's take this now, for example. I select this, my data. Currently, it's a range. If you come to, you see here, format as table, styles, right? So on this home ribbon, see my mouse, I'm at format as table. So when you click on it, you can pick the format you want. So if I click on this, it gives you a small pop-up. My table has headers. Yes, it has headers because I have item, price, quantity, and the likes. So if I click OK, right now it has converted these guys to it has converted this to a table. So if I scroll down, you can see that the same has applied where my item, price, quantity, they now go up, and whatever, how this functions is how this is going to function. So if I try to apply the same formula here again, right, new total, okay, and I do the same thing I did before. Remember, we had B2 and C2 here. Once I click on this, it shows me price. Once I multiply and do this, and then it autofills. So this is the difference between a table and a range. So that's what I'm going to mention on that. Please, okay, some are saying the network is not good. If you're hearing me thoroughly, please let me know that you're hearing me clearly. Okay, great. So that is between a table and a range. All right. So let us look at functions in Excel, right? So still working with the sales data. The first I have here is filter and sorting. Now look at that. Let's say I want to look at this. We have a whole range of data here, but I want to identify and see, okay, this Morgan, I want to focus on Morgan, right? I don't want to look at all the data. There's a function that is called filtering, okay? So that helps you view only a particular set of data. Okay, you can hear me, great. About getting the recorded session, Dataloom will give us feedback on that. So about filtering, right? Filtering can help me focus on a particular set of data I want to look at. So let's say, for example, I want to identify and look at Jones, only Jones, what Jones is doing. You can see there's Jones up here, there is Jones here, there is Jones here. But I don't want to be using my eyes to be scanning for Jones alone. I want to look at only Jones. So there's a function called filter, right? So if you look at on the home ribbon to my right, you can see editing, sort and filter. Okay, I can click on the filter here and it gives me a filter function at the headers of my table, right? So what this does is that you can see these little arrows. When you click on the arrow, you can see all the names of the persons in that row, right? In that particular column. This is giving me all the unique names we have there. If I come to item and I click on this, it's showing me all the unique names. We have binder, desk, pen, pen set, pencil. But if you look at the data, you are seeing them in duplicates. So what is filter? When I click on this and I want to focus on only Jones, for example, if I click on that, it shows me only Jones information. You understand? So that is what filtering does. That's what filtering does. I can't go back to range at the moment. We have a limited time, so I'll just try and follow up on that. So you can see with filter, I have looked at only Jones information, right? I can look at only Howard as well. This shows me Howard, the two entries we have. So you can apply filtering on different parts of your table, be it a range or be it a table. You can actually apply your filtering. Okay, so apart from filtering, you can do your filtering elsewhere, like on pens, the items as well. You can filter for pen, and then you see all your entries for pen. So that is filtering. Okay. Beyond that, we also have the sorting function, right? So let's see. You can see that we have pencil. They are all arranged one way or the other. I can sort it such that each item will come together. So if you click on that same downward arrow, you can see here we have our sorting function showing us sort A to Z, sort Z to A. If I click on sort A to Z, you can see our binder is together, desk is together, down to the end. So these are some functions you can make use of on your data sets. Again, filtering, you can simply pick and select who you want to focus on, and then it shows you filtering. Okay, so that's for filtering and sorting. And then we have conditional formatting. So let's say on this, my data set, we'll work primarily with the sales order, right? On my data set, there's something called conditional formatting. And this this is covering my screen. Okay. You can see it on the ribbon of home. Now, conditional formatting, compared to what I said about formatting, formatting is you pick a cell and you manually set, what you want. But I may want to be able to format cells that meet a particular criteria, right? And I will use units for that case. Let's say I want to quickly or be able to see how many persons ordered for 20 units and above, right? I can use two ways to do it. I can filter, right, and say, I can use the number filtering and say, I need greater than, or rather, greater than or equal to 20, okay? And it automatically shows me every order that is with 20, 20 units and above. I can do filtering for that, or in terms of to be visually, to visually identify them, I can use what is called conditional formatting. Conditional formatting now, if I highlight, conditional formatting, if I highlight the units now, right, of where I want, I can come over here and say, there are different conditional highlights, right? I can say highlight cells, right, that are greater than, okay? At this point, I'll make my input 22. 22 is my, 20 rather, is my benchmark, right? Highlight cells that are greater than 20, and over here, I can format how I want it to be. I can want it to look green. I can want it to look yellow. I can want it to have red text, right? But I'll just leave it at the default it has. And I say, okay. So conditional formatting helps me highlight or format cells that meet a certain criteria. So you don't manually change the color and the likes. You just set a condition and say, okay, if it meets this particular condition, highlight it in this way or that way for me. So this is conditional formatting. I can apply it in a different scenario. Okay, let me use names, right? I can also do this for names. Okay, for conditional formatting, I want to highlight cell rules that you can, apart from numbers, you can apply it to text. So I want to highlight a particular name. So automatically I pick Kevin. If I want to highlight Jones, I can just pick Jones. And, if I click OK, it's, visually pointing out Jones for me. So this is a function on Excel you can work with. That's conditional formatting, right? And then we have something called data validation. Data validation is a case where, let's take this data for example. No, there's a question for conditional formatting. Conditional formatting can be done on range and table. This, for me, I would say just the table is an advanced way, is something Excel wants to use to just to differentiate, but you can apply whatever it is on both table and range, and both table and range. You understand? So let's say I want to work on, I'm trying to explain data validation. What is data validation? If I want to limit, let's say we need to do data entry, right? You can see here when I filter for region, we have only 3 regions: Central, East, and West. Okay, Central, East, and West. In this country, there's only Central, East, and West. There is no South, for example. It can happen such that somebody may want to add data, right? And he, instead of putting Central, he can want to put South, right? But we don't have South, or he might want to impute, and he may misspell Central, and he may go ahead and write Central with an extra L. Okay, this would cause issues in my data when I want to analyze. So I can apply something called data validation. Data validation basically limits the inputs that can get into a particular cell. Okay, and that basically is how you do that. Is you highlight, or you can select the column you want, and data validation is available on the data ribbon. So on the data ribbon, if you on the data ribbon, you would see how do I make this guy to stop popping up? Yeah, okay, it's gone. So on the data ribbon, you would see where is that function? Consolidate. Yeah, so there's my icon is on data validation right now, right? So when you select the area, the column, or the set of data you want to validate, you click on this icon. So there are different forms of data validation, but what will be mostly used will be a list, right? So you want to, you have a fixed number of information that should be in that column. So if you select a list, right, what is my source? I can do two ways. I can write out those three regions here. I can say west, right, separated by a comma, east, and central. Okay. So when I say okay, if you come to each of these cells, you can only select east, west, or central. What happens is that by the time I come down here, okay, so let's assume there was nothing here before. By the time I want to make a new entry and I want to type, let's say I want to type south, it will not accept south because it has put a limitation on this row that it cannot accept anything that's outside central, east, or west. So until I input the right thing, then it will accept it. So let's also say I misspelled east, right? It also won't accept it. So it basically helps you stay within the set of data that is allowed for a particular column. So that's what the essence of data validation is. Very essential because let's say you have a sheet like this and you share it, different people in your team need to make input, but you want to ensure they input the right information. So you can apply data validation, and then it reduces the errors that are imputed onto your sheet, right? And then we have text to column. So text to column is a function basically that it helps you, let's say, separate a group of text in a row, in a column rather. So let me look for a data set that can fit for this. Okay, good. So I'll use the movie performance sheet as an example. Now, this you can see in the movie titles, we have, they're mostly like a clause or a sentence, buy hard, bread runner, and the likes. Let's say I want a column that should contain only the first words of this column. Like I want a column that will tell me only buy. I don't need hard. I need bread. I need D, dances. I don't need any other thing after that. Text to columns help us does that. So if I copy this, for example, I'll take it to a new, so that I don't make change to that data. I put it here. Text to column can help me achieve that. If I want to separate this into, like, I want each word to be in a column of its own, right? So text to columns help me does that. And it is also here in the data ribbon. So if you click on text to columns, right, it comes up this way where it gives you, some options to pick. Usually you go with delimited and then you go forward to next. Now, how do you want to separate your words? You know very well that your words are separated by space. Okay, so what you make use of, you click on space. So what you're telling Excel is that separate these words after each space. Like let a space be the separation for these words. By the time you click on next and you say finish, it does that for you. So this is text to column. It gives me the first letter. It can help you break out a cell into individual words or content. Now, other applications of this is where you have a name and a surname. Okay. Let's say I'll take another example. Let me just take another example. Yeah. So we have, I'll take my name and Bongo Wonam. I'll have David Paul. I have Tina Robert, right? So, but I want only the first name and I want to separate the first names from the surnames. So I'm going through the text to columns again, right? So if I come to text to columns, right, I leave it on delimited, I'll click on next. I know very well that if you look at your data set, what separates each name is a space. So what I'll select here is a space, and then I'll click on next and then finish. And then it has separated. I have my first name, I have my surname. So I can call this first name, surname, basically. So that is our text to column. Another function I like to, okay, I've already explained range and table to you. Next is the pivot table. So what does the pivot table help us do? Right here, let's go back to our sales orders, right? Here we have individual entries, right? We have that tells me Kevo ordered, binders 50%. And you can see that, for example, Jones appeared more than once. And if I want to look at only Jones information, I have to filter and come to Jones, and then I can see all of Jones, right? But there is a function called pivot table, right? Which helps you summarize this table in a way that you want best. Concatenation. Okay. Yes, I'll go to it's going to be a part of formulas as well, so we'll get to that. How can you merge parts? Okay, I understand. So we'll do that in the formulas. So let me just put it back for formulas. I'll add it here. So concatenation, right? Okay, so we are going to get to that. Thank you very much for mentioning. So back to this. So pivot table helps us get summary data from our set of data we have here. Okay, I'm going to get to formulas and then we'll do formulas. So I want to introduce us to pivot table. Pivot table is a very key tool or function in Excel that more often than not, you would make use of it almost always when you have to. In fact, you need pivot table more often than not to move from your data set to be able to use it on charts and charts, graphs, and the likes. So I want to show us how to make use of a pivot table. So what happens is that when you have your data set like this, either a range or a table, you make use of a pivot table to come up with summaries. For example, you want to see data only for Central, you want to see data only for Howard, only for Binder, a pivot table comes into play. So what happens is that you select your data, your data range, be it a range or a table. When you select it, you go to the Insert tab, right? And the very first thing you meet is a pivot table. So you can see here, it explains a pivot table easily arranges and summarizes complex data that's what it does basically. So if you click on this pivot table, it gives you a pop-up. You don't necessarily need to, change this, but for the sake of, how do I say, should I call it, okay, I'll just work with on a different sheet. You can create a pivot table on a different sheet or on the same sheet, but for this purpose, I'll use it on the existing sheet so that we'll see our pivot table as compared to the original table we have. Right. So if you select, so for example, if you work with the default by saying a new worksheet, you can just click on OK and it gives you your pivot table on a new sheet. For the sake of this, I want to work with it on this same sheet so that we're able to see our original table and the pivot table. So if I would want to insert my pivot table on this same sheet, so I'll say existing sheet. For that purpose, you will have to pick on the specific location and select a cell. A cell is fine, but you need some space away from your data and away from the top. So I'll just pick somewhere here and then you say OK, and then I have my pivot table here as well. So I might have to zoom out a bit so we can see what we are doing. Okay, I'll come back. Okay, let me just start with this. So what the pivot table does, it takes all our information. You can see here all our columns. We have it listed here as individual boxes you can select. And then we have an area that says filters, columns, rows, and values. So with this now, you can recreate a summary table from what you have here. So let's say, for example, I want to look at Jones. What exactly, let me look at all the representatives. How many total did they buy, right? So I will pick rep, okay? So this is what pivot table helps you do. I pick rep to rows. So right now I can see all my reps, right? All of them, Andrews, Jill, and the likes. It's no longer duplicated like we have on this table, right? And I want to see, the value I want to focus on is how many units they sold, right? I can now bring units in here into values. So pivot table does some automatic summarization for you. In this case, it has already told me, if you look at it, I have the sum of the units. In essence, for Andrews, this is the total number of units he has sold. So pivot table gives you a quick summary, right, of your table. So you can see here that if let's assume you wanted to get this from this table direct, you might find it hard. You would have to filter first for Andrews. You now have to put a sum together before you get this, right? So pivot table does this for us in a very simple way. So you can look at the sum of the units. Okay, take that out. You can look at the total, how much they have sold. So you can see here we have a total instead of just how many units they sold. We can look at how much each person sold. You understand? So this is what a pivot table helps us do. It gives us a summary from the original table we have. Now, this is just a simple, example I've given. You can actually do more than this on a pivot table. For example, you can have more than one value. You can look at the number of units beside how much is sold. So you can see here Andrew and how much is sold, right? And we can do beyond that. It's not only for rep, we can look at each region. Each region, how many units were sold. You can see that we have more sold in Central. We have this, the next is East. This gives us a summary. So this is the essence of a pivot table. It helps us get a quick summary from our original data. That is it for pivot table. And like I said, there is more you can do with it than just what I have shown so far. Okay, that's for pivot table. Okay. I'm actually trying to meet up with the time, so I'll try and slow down a bit then. So for the pivot table is what I try to explain. Like I said, it's a tool by Excel that does, you can use it to do quick summaries from your Excel, from your original set of data. You understand? So this gives me a quick overview of what I'm having in each of the regions, right? So I've done this for regions. If I want to look at the rep, like I showed you earlier on, I can easily drag rep into the rows, and then it gives me a quick summary for the reps. So it has shown me here the number of units they've sold and the total amount they sold. You understand? So this is a basic use of pivot tables. It gives a quick summary of from the table you have. Now, this pivot table is very essential because there are different ways to work around Excel, but for me myself, so I would get to explain that. Yes, this session is being recorded, and I'm certain it's available as it's being live streamed. Is on YouTube as well. You can get to visit it. The pivot table is essential because we can, I look at the pivot table as a bridge for me between my original data set and whatever summary I want to do. If I want to come up with a chart, with a trend, my go-to is a pivot table, right? With pivot table, I can now link my data and present it in form of a chart or of a trend. So someone is asking what the filter is meant for. Okay, so you've seen the use of the rows. Basically, the rows, whatever item you drag into the rows, it arranges that in form of rows, right? And whatever you drag into the columns, it arranges it in form of columns. So let me just do this for example. So let's say I have my reps. The columns basically, gives you more columns. It classifies the data according to columns as well. So if I want to look at my reps as rows, and I want to look at my regions as columns. So I can pick my region to column. So if you look at the pivot table now, it has further broken down my total, right? Yes, we have a total here, but now it tells me that Andrews is in Central, Gills, with this information, you can tell where they belong, right? Howard sales is in East. So you have like 3 persons in East, Howard, Jones, parent. So basically, if you look at this, I am getting this information from this data, but you cannot do this 1+1 and manipulations on this same data as it is. That is the essence of the pivot table. Think of the pivot table as a dynamic summarization tool. You can get different tables from your original table, right? So you have this. So you asked about what the filter is for. The filter basically does what you do with the filter on the table. So let's just say I don't have my region up there. I can filter, I can display, I can say I want to limit my reps to be shown only for a particular region. So what happens is that I will pick my region into the filter window you have here. And what happens is at the filter points, currently you can see all the reps, right? But if you come over here and you select central, what it does is that it shows you only the reps that are in central, right? If you select again east, it shows you only the reps that are in east. And if you select for west, it shows you only the reps that are in the west, okay? So apart from that, I can actually, that's basically what the filter is for, right? And at the same time, I may not want to do it in form of a filter. I can simply make it as part of my rows, such that I can see the classification. Central, these are the reps within central, and it shows me their individual units, and it also shows me the sum, their total in that region. Same thing, Howard as East as well. You have the three of them, their individual units sold, and the auto summary, you understand, total in that region. So the same thing here. So basically, the pivot table is super customizable. You can make use of it as you want to. So the truth is, as you get to make use of it, as you explore, you get to see different ways of making use of the pivot table. Okay, so there's a question here. Under values, mine is bringing out count of total, not sum of total. That actually count of total. So I believe you're referring to values there where we have sum of units. Now, Excel tries to, like I said, it's kind of intelligent. It gives you a summary based on the data type you put in there. It's giving me sum of units because like it knows that if I have individual count, I want to put it together. I would love to see the total, right? Yes, there's a recorded session. So if I take out what we have as sum of units here, if I put other dates, you can see here we have count of other dates. So it's kind of smart. It gives you an auto summary based on the data type that is there. So even with my units that it automatically tells me sum, I can change this from sum to count. So you can do that by going to value field settings, and then you select what you want. I can change it to count, and then it gives me count. So you have less, you don't have a sum again. It's counting how many times Andrews comes up. So you modify that to what you want. Like I said, this masterclass, I am trying to show you what you can do with Excel. Beyond this, we have a more detailed class, but I may not be able to go through every single thing, else we'll be here for hours, you understand? So this customization is down to what you want to make use of it for, right? So count of units is telling me how many times Andrew came up. If I change it to sum, it's adding together all the number of units each person sold, right? And then we have that. So somebody asked how I made the central, the region and the reps to show together. I simply put them together in the same rows. If I take out region, you have only your reps again. I can make it as a filter by putting, okay, no, not this way, by putting rep in region and rep in row, region in filters. This way I can filter and I would see, per region. So a pivot table is fully, that's what the message I'm trying to pass to you is that a pivot table is fully customizable depending on what you want to do. So this is where I'm going to hold it for this particular pivot table, right? So I'm going to move on to the next function, okay, which is charts, right? Charts from pivot table. So that's why I put pivot table first. So we have a pivot table that shows me the summary, per rep. We have Andrews, Gill, Howard, and the likes. This is the count. Now, what is a chart? Basically, we have this in terms of numbers, right? But Excel, which is a very key thing for Excel, what the key use is to be able to present this in a graphical form, such that without trying to figure out, okay, 213 is more than 183, 125 is less than 281. A chart is a graphical representation of this data we have here, so that it's easy for you to tell and pick the information you want to pick. You understand? So that is the essence of a graph. A graph, a chart, you understand, is drawn from a table, an Excel table, be it a pivot table or a table you created manually. So your graphs, your charts are graphical representations of the data that you have summarized and you want to present. So before doing the charts themselves, I'll just take us through the types of charts. So we have line charts, bar charts, column charts, different types of charts. And these charts, they have their various uses. So I'll go back to Excel and try to show us each of these charts, how they come in using the different data sets we have. So I'll start with this, okay? So we have our count of unit sales or unit orders rather per rep. Now I want to present this in form of a chart. Okay. So what happens is that when you want to put a chart, you select the data. Maybe you can just click on one cell or the whole unit. For a pivot table, you can just simply click on one part of the pivot table, and you are good to go to select and insert your chart. So if you go to insert, this insert ribbon, we have our charts over here put together. And again, Excel is smart. It can recommend a chart for you based on the data you have presented, right? And for the purpose, okay, let's just continue. So you can see here we have our column or bar charts. We have our line charts. So I will start with a column chart, right? So there are different formats you can put it in, but I'll just click on this, for example. So you can see here, I have a column chart representing this data we have here. Now, what is the essence of a chart as this? With a chart as this, I can simply tell you, my eyes I can simply tell who has the most units ordered, who had the least units ordered, for example. So let's compare how we are looking at this chart to how we are looking at this the data itself on a table. On the chart, I can simply I can see the highest column here, and it tells me Jones. So I can already tell that Jones is the person with the highest number of units ordered. After Jones is followed by Jardine. And then looking at everything, I can tell that the person with the least as well is Thompson. It's quite graphical. It meets your eyes. You don't need to rack your brain and say, oh, this number's compared. You understand? You can tell that Thompson has the least units ordered, and then followed by Howard. Meanwhile, if you are trying to do the same to identify who has the most, first of all, you have to scan through everything and check which number is highest. Or you can say, okay, 396 is the highest. You still have to go down to the last to check if any other number is higher than that, but not with your chart. Your chart can easily point you to where you should focus on. You have your highest by Jones, you have your least by Thompson. And this is basically the essence of a chart in Excel. It's a graphical representation. Your eyes, can easily pick and say, this is this is telling me the most sales or the likes. So that is how it's the essence of a chart. So this is a bar chart, a column chart we have. And a column chart basically is used when you are comparing categories. Okay, so when I say categories, like different units that are similar, we have, these are all sales reps, but these are different sales reps. So in this case, I am comparing different sales reps to see their what's it called, their sales compared to each other. And there's a question about ordering it how you want it to be. And like I mentioned, we already mentioned sorting and filtering. Yes, you can actually sort it to be from highest to lowest simply by Now, this again is the essence and the importance or the advantage a pivot table has, right? It's quite dynamic. On a pivot table, I can simply sort. You can see I right-clicked, sort largest to smallest. So whatever sorting I have done here has automatically applied to my column chart. You understand? So I'm using a pivot table to express. So we would both be learning on our pivot table and our chart as we are going forward with this. You understand? So that answers the question of, yes, it can be ordered. You understand? So even without the ordering, so this helps you, yes, in a flow, but without the ordering, you can still tell who has the most sales, is some key information from it. So this is a column chart. Now, a line chart can come, you can also modify your chart to be in form of a line. Now, in a line in this case will not serve, because a line chart basically serves better when you're looking over time. You understand? Bar charts, they are not connected. They are not directly connected. They are just similar. So they are placing them beside themselves. A line chart, however, would show you over time. Sorry, how do you see my screen? Is anything zoomed out? I believe you should be seeing my pivots, the chart, the pivot table, and I went away from this. We're not focusing on this right now. We are looking at the pivot table and the chart. So what I can do is I'll just reduce this so you can see them together. I believe this better. You can see everything. Okay, all right, thank you. So my screen is okay. So I'm just showing you everything. So you can, from a glance, you can see that on Excel, we have moved from our general data, right? We have come to a summary table using pivot charts and pivot table rather, and then we have moved in to a chart format, right? And you know, over time you might get to see that this is called a pivot chart, but a pivot chart, a normal chart is basically the same. They just call it a pivot chart because I am building it from a pivot table, right? So from a regular table, you can come up with your chart and you know you have the same customizations separate from what you have on a. Okay, so if you want to get your pivot table, just click on your pivot area. Sorry, can we mute our mic, please?
This weather is changing again.
Thank you. So on the pivot table, if you click on pivot table, this pivot table field should appear. If it doesn't appear, like let's say you close it, you can actually right click on it and you see show field list, right? And that gives you back what you're looking for. So this is a column chart, right? So I want to show us a line chart, okay? And let me look for a data set that would give us a line chart best. Okay, good. So I'm going to use this histogram sheet to show us a line chart, okay? So we have a table here that shows us over time in the year 1980, we have 50 naira, 1980, 100 naira. So this is giving us prices over different years. This is a very good scenario to use a line chart because it shows progression. So a line basically shows progression. So I'm going to use this to show a line chart. So in the same case, like a table like this, you just click on it, go to insert, right? And then over here, you can see and insert a line chart. So if you click here, you can pick on the first. We have a line chart. Okay, so for this case, Excel is picking my year as part of my data, but you can modify this. I'm certain we'll cover this in a more deep class, but I'll just go ahead to represent this exactly how I want to represent. So just give me a minute, please. My data here, I'm trying to pick this. Okay, series. Nope, that's not correct. Excuse me. It shouldn't be this way. So select data. Yes. horizontal axis. Okay, I do not want excuse me, I'm trying to get this to present as it should. Edit you, my friend. Excuse me. Okay, for the purpose of explanation, I'm going to use this, right? I just had to do a quick shortcut there because, so now we see our data over time, right? So this is a trend, this is a line chart. You can see that it is showing us a progression. Now, the difference between a line chart and a bar chart is this. You can see, you know that this is connected, basically. It's the same price over time. So over between 1980 up until 1999, we have different prices. And this can tell you that, you know, from looking at this chart, you can say, okay, during 1988, 1989, you know, we had the great increase and then it's gone down over time. So the essence of a line chart is to show data relationship or change over time. And as you can see here, we have 1980, 1981. They are quite close and you're not seeing it clearly. You can still further, you can modify your axis so it can show you clearly by what I'm just going to do right now. I want it to, I don't want it, it looks cumbersome, you know, it's too clustered. So I can modify it by, you know, going through this and I'll change, I can make this minus 45. Yeah. And so now it is showing clearly, right? So I can see my years separately and very clearly. So 1980, you can see the progression of the price, right? Or rather of the profit in Holland. So we are looking at our profit in Holland, right? So over time, you can see very well that it started, you know, from 1980, it's quite low. And then we had a peak at about 1989. And then since then, it's been going zigzag up and down up until 1999. So this is the essence of a line chart. A line chart just gives you a trend over time, okay? So we have line chart, looked at a column chart. A bar chart basically is, excuse me, a bar chart is basically, column chart is, what's the word, is as a column. We have it vertically, right? Yes, bringing out the year, that's what I'm trying to explain. Okay, it's, how do I put it? It's a, okay, basically, I'm trying to show you what I can do on Excel. I may not show exactly everything. Like if I try to explain how I got out the year because of how the data is set, it might take us way longer than it should. You understand? So we'll definitely take questions after, and then we'll also have, you know, refer us to another class where I can explain in depth on how to work your way around certain things. Like for example, that sheet we're looking at, when I initiated the graph, right, what it gave me, you know, in sense of like, when I say intelligence, right, you can automate a system, but then it will still have a fault because it can misinterpret at some point. So what happened there was that Excel didn't properly interpret data as I have wanted it to be, you understand? So I had to go around and do some tweaks, but I believe I should see another data set that I can just show you plainly how it works, you understand? So for those tweaks I did, further classes will be done to see, you know, how you can properly, you know, have full mastery of Excel as it is. So I'm trying to explain column chart versus bar chart. So this is a column chart, right? A column chart is vertical. I can switch this, excuse me. Okay, I can switch this between a column chart and a bar chart. So what happens is that on your chart, you can modify, you can change it, you can interchange your chart type. So what happens if you look at your Excel ribbon, these tabs, they are kind of dynamic. Right now, you can see a pivot chart analyze tab. If I click on it, okay, sorry, a design chart. This place, I can use it to change how I want my chart to look. So if I want to interchange between column chart and bar chart, which is what I'm going to show you right now, so I can click on my chart type, right? So you can see column charts. If I come to bar chart, a bar chart is basically on the horizontal format, right? So this is a bar chart basically. Bar chart is horizontal, while column chart is vertical, and that's basically it's the difference about them, right? You can use them interchangeably depending on the data you want to work with. Then let me still focus a bit on this. You can do more to your data, to your charts, right? By adding some labeling so that it's easy for a person to see, okay, what is this column? What is the value it has there exactly? You understand? So to the right of your chart, depending on the version of Excel you are using, if you see a plus sign to your chart, you can see data labels. So when you click on that, you can see that the values of each of these columns have been automatically added, right? So you can also modify your axis titles. So basically on this, you can do some modifications on how you want your chart to be best represented. So now I have added the values for each of these columns, and you can see quite well that, okay, this is the number of units it has there. You understand? So that is basically what we do in what is it called, for the pivots, for the charts rather. So we have, I can also show you, we have a pie chart. So I'm going to try to show us a pie chart, right? So you can change this as well by simply doing a pie chart. So what a pie chart does is that it shows us in terms of a circle, total their contribution, or let me make use of a different data set to show pie charts. Not Pareto, excuse me. Histogram. Okay, good. So we have a pie chart sheet here, right? So I can use this as a perfect fit to represent my pie, my what is it called? Pie chart. So if I select my data here, I have Africa, Asia, Europe, and the number of passengers we have there. So if I come to insert, and then we have a pie chart. So what this pie chart basically does, it represents all this data as a whole. And graphically as well, I can tell which of these countries, or sorry, continent has the most passenger. And as you can see here from my left, Europe has the most based on the sector of the circle of the pie that it occupies. I know my two highest contributors are Europe and who is this color? Asia. You understand? So this is a pie chart, right? And so line, bar, column, pie charts, Pareto charts. So I'll just show us a Pareto chart on this particular data. A Pareto chart basically helps us. It's like a column chart, but it helps us in it's kind of it's an advanced chart basically that you can use to identify which top issues you should work with. For example, on this case, you have these are different reasons for dissatisfaction: expensive hardware, bad quality games, right? And as a company, a gaming company, they may not be able to focus all their resources on resolving all these issues, right? They need to focus on maybe top 2, top 3. A Pareto chart helps us look at which are the top issues that they can focus on. So if you select, yes, we can do that. I'll get back to it. So if you select this, you can insert a Pareto chart basically by, so if you can come up with all your charts, go to all charts. So here we have Pareto. Where are you? Oh, I saw you just now. Interesting. Okay, so actually, I don't know why my Pareto chart is not available here at the moment, but a Pareto chart is a type of chart. Basically, it's like a bar chart where, apart from a bar, it arranges it according to, descending order, and then it adds a graph, a line graph on it as well. So that helps to say, okay, these are my 3 top or two top contributing issues, and then your company can focus on that. It's basically a modification of the bar chart, sorry, of the column chart, basically. So that is what we have for the charts. So these are basically the basic types of charts we make use of: line charts, bar charts, column charts, pie charts, right? And area charts is a similar one, but it's also advanced. In a further class, we can look at it. And a combo chart basically is a single chart that puts together two or more types of charts, like a line and a bar chart, or a line and a column chart, which is basically what a Pareto. A Pareto is a combo chart, basically. So that is it about charts. A chart helps to graphically oh, okay, you saw it on the recommended. I'm not on my end. So a combo chart basically puts together one or two. Let me see, Pareto, if I do recommended charts. I still can't find it here, but I know, okay, fine, this is it. Thank you. This is a Pareto chart. Good, so I'll just impute it here. So you can see a Pareto chart. Look at the difference. On the column chart that we did earlier on, right? If you recall, it did not order it. It used it the same way it was arranged. But the Pareto chart rather will automatically order it, in a descending order for you, and then it puts in a percentile graph that you can make use of. And then there's something called Pareto principle. Again, this is advanced, something that we can go deeper. It says 80-20 rule. So with the Pareto chart, you can identify the issues that contribute to 80% of your fault, and then you focus on that, and let go of the remaining. So that's the essence of a Pareto chart. So this gives us hierarchical order descendingly our issues, basically. So you can tell you that expensive games is the top complaint. After that, we have bad quality, right? And these two basically are our top issues. So the company can decide to focus on resolving or reducing the number of issues they get due to these two, since it has the most impact, you understand, on the overall. The remaining are quite minimal compared to this. So that's basically a Pareto chart for it. So this is what we have as per charts. And I don't know if time will permit to look a bit at formulas before we call it a day for our class. Detalium, you can give me how long I have to just do a bit covering on formulas, an introduction before we make reference to ending or further classes. So I'll just take us a bit on the formulas that we have. So like we said, this has given us a bit of summarization, graphical representation using Excel. Now on Excel, you can actually do some calculations. Okay, so basically, so far so good. I have been able to introduce us to Excel, the window, and how it works, what it is used for. I believe this has given you an introduction into the wonderful things you can do with Excel. Unfortunately, we can no longer take any more of this part of the class. Like I said, formulas are very advanced. I won't say too advanced, but they are also functional things we can make use of. And I'm certain Detalium is going to relate to us any more information as to how we can get updated, some more classes or training on this. But I'll be ending this masterclass at the moment. But so far, so good. We'll have an introduction into how Excel looks, the worksheets, the basic tools, copy, paste, formatting, and some functions like filtering, sorting, validation, and the likes. And we've looked at charts. These alone are a good place to start with Excel. So at this point in time, I'm going to hand over to our Detalium team for them to go ahead. I think I have a question from, how can we indicate the percentages? Okay, so that's the last I'll just look at, basically. Where is the pie chart? It's the same thing. You can click on this and put your data label. And these are all advanced. You can click on the label. This is how you can put labels on it. And say you format your data labels and you can put your percentage and you have it. All of these are possible on Excel. So we can have percentages. You can have the category name. So you can see Africa 150 and a percentage. So these are advanced things you can do with Excel. So I believe I have been able to cover a lot. I'm going to hand over at this point in time to Detalium to give us a roundup. Again, sorry we couldn't get to the formula part, but this is just an opener into what else we have. So thank you very much. I'm Obong, and I hand over to the Detalium team to take over at this point, and they will give us a say from there. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Enobong. That was an awesome training. Thank you so much, everyone. Honestly, we could have done so much more, but then we have to stick to time. I want to say thank you for everyone that joined us. Today is weekend and you took your time to join. Thank you so much for that. So for the formulas, the operations, the other aggregations, please, we'll do more during the full class. In our full classes, we can do all of this. We can spend so much time, so much questions can be answered, access to questions and upon questions, right, during the full classes. So we're going to do like a masterclass experience question. We're going to have like a pool questions just to see how well we have done for the class today. All right, so just stick with us. I'm going to share screen and you guys would all see. Okay, so the first question we have, how are you feeling this morning? Please, let's answer on the poll. Let's just pick the answers and all right, thank you so much, everyone. All right, thank you so much. So the answers are going to come up shortly. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for answering this poll question. I can see someone saying that you can't see the poll question. Sorry, that must be your network. All right. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us again. Enobom, that was an awesome training. Thank you so much. Okay. So for our full classes, we have a discount coming up for individuals interested in joining us for the full class. It's the Excel, Power BI, and SQL training. You can join us, and we have a 2,500 discounts for the first 5 persons, to make payments for the class. So we're giving out this discount to all our participants. So if you're interested, please, all other information also will be dropped on the group chat. Okay, so there are so many benefits attached to, joining us on our full classes. We give industry recognized certifications. For this particular training, the Excel, Power BI, and SQL class, you're going to be receiving 2 industry recognized certificates. You're also going to get access to video recordings, access to career path and mentorship, also opportunities to network with data professionals, across a data analytical globe. Also, you'll also have job opportunities, recommendation letters. Say you want to travel out of the country, there's so many opportunities when you join Detalium, Detalium full class. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Like I said earlier, all other information will be shared on the group chat. I want to say thank you, Enobong. Thank you so much for this training, and we'll see you all in the next class. Thank you so much. God bless you, everyone. Please enjoy your weekend. Okay, one more thing, please. Are there any more questions? If you have any question for Enobong or for myself, please, we'll be willing to answer. All right. Okay. So I can see some questions on the group on the chat room. Okay, the details of the full class will be posted on the group chat. Yes, of course. Then also the video recordings. Also, I've dropped a link on the group chat for you to watch the video just in case you missed one or two things during the class. You can also do that. Yes, there will also be a physical class. Yes, we have our classes both virtual and also physical, and you can choose whichever you would like to join. All right, okay. Thank you so much. Yes, all the formulas, the aggregations, operators will all be covered during the full class. Like I said earlier, you have access to ask as many questions as you can. You have access to mentorship, and you also have access to a career path. And you can also follow us on our social media platforms for more information. Thank you so much, everyone. God bless you. This has been an amazing training. I'm so happy. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Have a great day and a lovely time. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.